Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is Thursday. Oh my goodness, it's March the 31st, 2022. It's another Technical Alpha podcast. Glad you could make it to the show here today. Got another great show lined up for you as always. A little later than usual. I went over to the house, wrote the podcast all up, went over to the house at 3 to help with putting up the HVAC unit on the wall, and that was a gong show. And so we're a little bit later today than intended, but we're here. We're making the magic happen live just for you. If it's your first time here, welcome. Thank you for giving us a shot. If you're listening to us or watching us live or checking us out on YouTube, bless you. Talking about video games, movies, and television, and everything in between, all while looking decrepit and older as the days go on. For your entertainment. Mr. Maximus Black, before we get started, I have to ask a very important question. How was your week?
It's been another week, man. It's been another week.
Well,
That's pretty
you
much
know,
it.
Nothing wrong with another week. Nothing wrong with another week. I guess I had the same thing. Whoop. Tell me I didn't stop something. No? Okay, good. But the same thing. Another week. Working at the house. And like I just said, we finally got the HVAC up on the wall. Dad got the painting in that room finished this week earlier, and so that allowed us to hang the HVAC unit up on the wall, which will in turn allow us to just run hose to it now, and that's pretty much it. I think all of the holes have already been put through all the walls except for the exterior, and so. Not to jinx it, but theoretically it should be a relatively smooth completion of the HVAC installation. But again, you never know until you're in the thick of it. You never know what could happen. So there you go. So yeah, we did that, and I've just been drywalling. Yesterday I came home, I looked like I dove in a mountain of cocaine. Just head to toe. Fucking white hair, white glasses, couldn't see shit out of my glasses anymore, just coated in gyprock dust. But we've been, making some good progress. It's just so much mud on the ceiling where the walls used to be to try and get it to be relatively even before we can start feathering it out into the rest of the ceiling, and it just takes forever to dry. Like you're putting like a quarter of an inch of fucking gyprock mud on the wall. You can't just sand that bitch and like 2 hours later. You gotta basically just walk away for 24 hours and come back when it's dry. So it's been taking a little extra time, but it's one of those things. It's like you either take your time and you do it and you see little to no lines in your ceiling, or you rush that shit and you hate yourself for the rest of your fucking adult life because every time you walk into the house you see the stupid fucking ceiling seam whenever you walk in. So we're trying to avoid that as best we can. Other than that, yeah, it was pretty much it. We are coming along quite a ways. I think we're on bucket number 5. Those big 5-gallon or whatever gyprock buckets. So much of it just goes into like if you have like an end of a wall where you've got your corner bead and you've got to flatten it to the corner bead. You like half a fucking bucket just goes into the stupid end of the wall. Like you can't skim coat that shit. And so we've blasted through lots, but it's been quite a learning experience. I'm getting slightly better as time goes on. I've been trying to practice where shit's going to be hidden, like behind cabinets or behind the refrigerator. Like, all right, let's warm up over here, and then out in the living room, where I have to actually be good. Hopefully it will be a little bit better. But all the same, the house is coming along well, and getting closer and closer. I can smell it. But in the meanwhile, where's my garbage can? In the meanwhile, I went back to streaming in the evenings, just getting like 3 hours, 4 hours in here and there because Dad and I talked about it. We're like, man, if everything were to line up, which it won't because it's a house, we might be done the end of April. But the more likely scenario is end of May. And so I was like, man, if I don't at least have a presence on my live stream, that'll be like 5 fucking months of not having streamed. I need to do something, anything to keep this bitch alive. We need to give it mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. So But I also knew I couldn't stand up at the desk, so I hooked up everything for the TV. I kind of like slung together a stream layout, and we've been playing Skyrim on the PS5, completely unmodded stock Skyrim Special Edition on the PS5. But you know, it's doing its purpose. It's getting me live. It's making sure people know I haven't died. Because not everyone follows you on social media in the Twitch world, right? They're not all on your Discord. They're not all following you on Twitter or Instagram or wherever the fuck else. So some people are like, "Oh my god, I haven't seen you in like 3 months." You've been like active everywhere but Twitch, and so I don't know. Maybe I should make more use of. I don't know if you do, but I know some streamers do. Like the Twitch technically has like a feed that you can post to, and I never think to fucking post to it. Like it's not like, it's more or less like your own message board where you can send it out and your followers are technically supposed to be able to, you know, to see that shit, similar to what YouTube has, I guess. I never think to fucking use it. Maybe I should start doing that, because a lot of people literally thought that I had like got hit by a bus or fucking eaten by a bear or something as to why I wasn't there for 3 months. But there you go. Yeah, it's like YouTube has its own feed, no one uses it. Some people do, and you know what? I bet you it's smart. And if I was smart, I would use it too. But that's it. That's all there is to it, which means it's time to hop directly into some video game news. First up, Mr. Black, not that it's a shocker to anyone, but E3 2022, gone. See you bye.
Yep.
Canceled. Confirmed as of only about 20 or 30 minutes ago, I guess, or within the last hour. We had that pop up. And so there you have it. There's your official. The E3 of this year is gone, which means Jeff Keighley once again. It's a W for Jeff Keighley. Summer Games Fest is going to be the only major event for that kind of a deal. And that was also confirmed, of course, because they always take advantage every time E3 mentions something negative. Here comes Summer Game Fest. Hey, confirmed for June. We'll see you. We'll see you then. And so we got our confirmation for a June launch for Summer Game Fest. Past that, proving that Keira Knightley isn't the only one with great legs, and let's be honest, Keira Knightley, fantastic legs, Mr. Black. Rockstar is back at it with extending the life of GTA 5 with some more monetization. They can't let that bitch die, mostly because it's one of the most played video games on Earth, like a decade after release. This is the game that never ends. Goes on and on, my friends. And they're introducing what's called GTA Plus, further proving that nobody in marketing anywhere can come up with anything original and have to just add a fucking plus to the end of something for a subscription service. Here we are with GTA Plus. For $6 a month, that's US dollars, so $600 Canadian. Each month you get a couple of perks. If I scroll down here, I'll be able to let you know what that is. All right, so this is specific to the GTA Online deal, right? So you get $500,000 in-game money delivered automatically to your Maze bank account each month. Now, I don't play GTA Online, but I did read that somebody said that's basically the equivalent of giving somebody food stamps. So, you know, it's something, but it's not really anything that you would be like, oh man, if I spend $6, I'm going to get so much money. The Princip something Divest 8, which sounds like, I don't know, a car of some kind. Plus the HSW Orange Trip and HSW CMYK Glitch liveries for the said vehicles, I guess. The auto shop located in La Mesa. Current auto shop owners can relocate at no additional cost. Waived LS Car Meet membership fees. Current LS Car Meet members with GTA Plus will be reimbursed with GTA 50K during this event period. Yacht owners can upgrade to the Aquarius Super Yacht at no additional cost. What? I feel like I'm reading the patch notes for Second Life in like 2004 or some shit. This shit's fucking wild. The Goose Frog Tea, I don't even know if that's how you pronounce that at this point. They're just making up words, Jeff. I don't know what these are. And Broker Prolapse Basketball Top and Shorts automatically added to your wardrobe. The Conveyor Livery for the Mammoth Avenger HVY APC and the TM02 Kanjali. Again, they're just making words up at this point. A selection of free paints and emblems for the auto shop, 3x GTA I don't know if that's 3 times or 3 of an amount of GTA dollar and RP on How's Special Works Race Series, and 2 times car meetup rep on the Street Race Series. So that's for $6 a month, I guess. None of that means anything to me, but what it tells me, at the very least, is that if they're coming out with a service like this deep into Grand Theft Auto Online's life, clearly that game is still massive. And we're seeing, if you look at their player numbers and stuff, like their concurrent numbers are huge. Like well north of 100,000 people playing that shit concurrently at almost any given time, or at least during peaks, which outpaces the vast majority of every other fucking video game on the market, which is very impressive. I don't know, because it's like, for me, like in other games we've talked about in the past, sometimes you don't realize how big some things are, because if we're not seeing them live streamed, and on Twitch, GTA Online isn't necessarily the thing that pushes Grand Theft Auto, it's the RP community that pushes GTA up the list on Twitch. I sometimes forget that GTA Online is just fucking massive, and continues to be so. So if people are wondering why GTA 6 didn't come out like 2 years after GTA 5, now you know. I would love to know how much money they're making off of that game, bro. I need to know.
A lot.
Several dollars. There's absolutely no crossover between the GTA Online and the RP stuff, right? Beyond, like, just the assets that the server guys are using for the actual servers, like, themselves? Or, like, there's no crossover in that, is there?
There's a shit ton of online servers. I mean, RP is an online server. It's just role-played. You know, there's a bunch of servers that you can join. There's a big directory. You can join random-ass servers that have different roles or different things. Some of them are role play, some of them aren't. Some of them are racing only. Some of them are, you know, they got it for everything. So,
right. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, for those of you out there you have it. GTA Plus. Another subscription to add to your credit card. And forget that you have 5 years from now. And just give them money for free for long periods of time. Amazon Game Studios, after struggling to produce any successful games for nearly a decade, and sometimes I forget that Amazon Game Studios has been around for nearly a decade, they have finally seen its boss, Mike Frazzini, stepping down. Reportedly, Frazzini has been cited by many people internally, and I don't think it's just the developers themselves, as the main source of why Amazon Game Studios has struggled to make games thus far with, or successful games thus far, with only Lost Ark's localization seemingly locking in any real success, which is kind of damning if you think about it. You know, the Lost Ark isn't even their game. They just localized that shit for North America, and that's their biggest hit. Because the one before, what was it, the MMO Lost World or some fucking thing. I can't remember what it was. It was big on Twitch for 4 minutes, and then it disappeared. But that was like their closest previous to the localization. New World, that's it. And that tanked bad. Like that died in like the first 3 weeks. So I can't remember for sure, but I want to say when Mike Frazzini was originally put in place there was skepticism because he was seen as more of a suit than somebody that actually was particularly invested in or was interested in the games business beyond just being placed there, and it was like a paycheck. And so I guess that would line up with maybe perhaps why it hasn't, when your leader isn't really in it, you're not going to necessarily always produce good stuff. But 10 years without production, it's a miracle his ass wasn't fired earlier. That is a lot of leeway. I don't know who he's friends with, but holy shit, can you imagine sucking ass at your job for a decade and finally getting a golden parachute on the way out? Like, that is some deep friends right there, rolling hard for you, covering your ass for a long time. But there you go. So we'll see who gets, I don't think there's been any suggestions as to who would replace this guy, but hopefully somebody that knows what they're doing. Otherwise, that studio is basically just there to burn money. Since pledging to support Ukraine with funds earned directly via real money purchases on Fortnite between March 20th and April 3rd, Fortnite has, as of I think a couple of days ago, the 27th or 28th, have already raised over $70 million which is pretty fucking good. $70 million is more than some countries have dedicated to the cause to Ukraine. And I think that's just the power and the size, the magnitude of Fortnite. Just gives you a perspective as to how big that game really is. And so, good on them for I guess, getting involved. It's not common for corporations, especially something that's so far removed from, or at least from a public's perspective, from a geopolitical fucking situation like this, to actually take a side. Even if it seems really easy to pick a side, it's rare, which is why you're not seeing every company on Earth do exactly the same thing you're seeing here. You're just seeing certain companies getting involved to this degree. So, props to them for getting involved and at least picking something to get behind. Also in Fortnite news, and I'm sure you've seen this, and if anything like my stream, you've been asked if you're ever going to play it, Fortnite also introduced Zero Build, which is Fortnite with no building, as the name would imply. Getting rid of the function that old people like me stepped away from the game because I just literally cannot build structures as fast as 13-year-olds. I just can't do it. My brain ain't in it. You're watching these kids on a cell phone building like a fucking skyscraper in 0.2 seconds while engaging in a firefight, and that's on a cell phone. I can't do that shit with a keyboard and mouse. So I just bowed out and said, you know what? It's for the kids. They can have their Travis Scott concerts in their fucking Fortnite building. I'm gonna go play Warzone and be salty about it. But yeah, they got rid of the building, and it has been, on my timeline anyway, and everything I've read, vast majority positive. About it. Now, obviously there are people, because they right now don't have the standard mode, they just have this no building mode. Obviously there's still a great number of people that want to see the standard mode come back, and I'm certain that it will return. It's just that they're doing this. And I'm on one hand, I'm kind of surprised they're doing it. On the other hand, I'm kind of thinking, I'm surprised that it didn't happen sooner, since so many people have been requesting this for a long time. Because so much of Fortnite's mechanics are so damn good that if you got rid of the building for the accessibility part, a lot of people would hop in. And that's probably what they're testing right now. How many people can we get to come back and play Fortnite with no building? I know you're only just dipping your toes in Elden Ring because you don't really play games outside of RP right now. But if you were a younger Mr. Black that was a little bit more exploratory in his streaming games, would a buildless Fortnite be something that would be like, oh, well, I'll give it a shot? Go back to it. Mm-hmm. Or is this just like, or is Fortnite just something that never interested you at all?
I play a little bit. I mean, I probably got like 100 hours in Fortnite. Like,
God damn! I didn't know you had 100 hours in Fortnite.
Probably.
Okay. Yeah. So probably. you could build a house.
Yeah, I can build. I'm probably be dog shit now. It's been several years since I played Fortnite, but that wasn't that bad. As for me playing it, I mean, yeah, I'd probably try it out. It doesn't hurt to try. I'm surprised they don't have both modes available. It's weird that they would remove their main mode and make it buildless. Why not just have a build mode and a non-build mode and have separate rankings and let people... It's not like Fortnite's got a low player count where they're not going to be able to match-make games, right? Maybe that's what they'll ultimately do. Maybe this is a test run to force everybody to play it once to feel like if they like it or not, and then bring back the old and then leave this new version. Who knows?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think they're just testing. Because it's very difficult to get people to go in and try that if you're going to continue to provide also the standard mode right out of the gate. But if you do this, and clearly they're going to bring it back. I mean, can you imagine the shitstorm of them just coming out and be like, all right, guys, show's over. No more building in Fortnite. Like, they'd be burnt to the ground. But like doing it like this, where it's like a slow rollout in this season or whatever, gives them a chance to see how many people are really going to like it, how many people are interested. Test the balance of things. I have to imagine that when you're balancing your game and your guns and your mechanics around the ability to build shit, I can only imagine what it would do to balance taking the ability to build right out of the game. Like, that has to do something. I'd be naive to think otherwise. So it might also be like a really big balance test, like what the fuck is going on, like what guns are hideously broken in this mode, etc., etc. So, yeah, we'll keep tabs on it and talk about more if more interesting news comes out of it. But I did think that was relatively interesting. That's a big move for a game that's so massive to take a stab at. So there you go, little double whammy for the Fortnite fans out there this week. The YouTube Destiny community, on the other hand, not having a great week, including Bungie themselves, as they were hit with numerous copyright takedown notices coming from fake Google accounts. Stop me if you've heard that one before. They targeted everything from soundtrack videos, cutscenes, and, as mentioned, some of Bungie's own videos, which is a bold move. If you're going to do false copyright claims, going after the company themselves that would actually hold copyright, it's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them. Well, what happened? Well, obviously, immediately, Bungie now went out and said, okay, it's not us, because content creators' original knee-jerk reaction, as you would imagine, was, oh shit, Bungie is starting to tighten up on what you can and cannot post online, whether it be something that has the soundtrack in it or whatever else. But Bungie came out and said, no, guys, it ain't us. There's something else, and we'll have more updates for you when we find out more of what's going on. And when they did, they came back and they said, okay, it's time to get litigious. We're feeling litigious today. Time to open up a court case. And so they did, against what they listed as 10 John Does, which they are now in the process of subpoenaing information on so that they can move forward with the case. So this is essentially, Bungie is now going to, I don't know if it would be YouTube and then an internet service providers or anything like that, to backtrack who is creating these accounts, when, where, find out who they are, and they would need to subpoena that kind of information to be able to acquire it and then move forward with the case. So they're in the middle of that, apparently. They also, though, and this was what was interesting and what got a lot of content creators attention, just from the fact that nobody else has previously, in terms of a major company, backed the content creators on this. They also point out in their court case specifically, they call out YouTube in the court case, criticizing them for their system being easily gamed. That's a direct quote. They're calling it easily gamed and difficult to resolve issues. Cataloging their own in the process, they listed what the process was like for them as Bungie, the developer, who obviously has direct ties to much higher up support structures in YouTube than, even large content creators might. So they cataloged that and their own struggle to get their to get attention, because they were just getting about a bunch of out of office vacation email returns and voicemails and everything else, and it was a struggle for them to even get the attention of somebody as their own channel was getting hit by these false copyright claims. And they also listed that as a point, that high-profile content creators on the platform now have strikes on their channels, because these were handed out as strikes. These weren't like, oh, we're going to just take the monetization from your video. They were legitimately handed out as strikes, and so some of these channels were having strikes on their channels out of fraudulent claims. So Bungie, as far as I can remember, or as far as I know, is the first major company to actually call out YouTube on their system, which everyone knows is, as we've seen 1,000 times, and we've reported on several different incidences here on the podcast for various content creators and various genres on the platform, it's easily gamed, and it's easily weaponized, and it's weaponized a lot. And the system on YouTube is quite literally, you're guilty until proven innocent. And the problem is that it takes 3 clicks to prove somebody guilty, and it takes a hell of a lot more than 3 clicks, and in some instances up to like 2 to 3 months to resolve on the other end of proving your innocence for some of these cases in these videos. And that's just very silly. So I was I was mildly impressed and more so hopeful that more companies in the future will also, if they get in these situations, call out YouTube on their shit, and maybe the system will be improved in some way, shape, or form. Probably not, but a man can dream, Mr. Black. A man can hold out for something in life, something positive, something light. I know back in the day on one of my channels I had a video, it wasn't a strike, but it was a copyright claim, and it literally took 2 months.
Yep.
All the revenue gone, and then they just come back and be like, oh, okay, yeah, we cleared it. And it's like 2 or 3 months later, and you're like, oh, thank you. Now that I'm getting like 2 views a day, I appreciate that. Shout out. So, and the craziest part is, the fraudulent claims still collect all that money and get paid out by Google, and you never see that money. So even if you prove that you were actually in the clear and it's not theirs to begin with, you never see the money that you lost from them claiming it. So it's a lose-lose for the content creator. There's no upside ever, other than like keeping your account in good standing and having strikes removed. There's no upside. So it's just an absolutely insane deal. And yes, as Fox is mentioning here in chat, it's not a small suit either. They're going at $150,000 for each false claim in damages, which is the total, I guess, is somewhere in the neighborhood of $6,150,000.
Good luck. They ain't getting a penny.
Probably not.
Definitely not. Yeah.
Unfortunately.
They're scared. They're trying to scare people.
Yeah. Sony has announced their not quite intended competitor to Game Pass, Mr. Black. It finally happened. We've been waiting and waiting. What is Sony going to do to at least pretend that they have the money that Microsoft does and come out with some sort of answer to Game Pass? Well, it happened this week. After having a code name and a bunch of other nonsense for weeks on end, we finally got to see what it was. And essentially what it is they took their previously existing services, which is PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now. And those were two different services that you could subscribe to have their whatever perks depending on what you might want. And they combined that into just calling it PlayStation Plus. And then now they have a tiered service that, you get more and more as you go up the tiers that combine those two together. And then they added some extra little bits and pieces to this as well to sweeten the deal. And so let's go over what that's about. So the big headline is it launches, first of all, in June with 700 plus games and more value than ever, Mr. Black. First tier is called PlayStation Plus Essential. Comes with the same benefits that Plus members are getting today, such as the 2 monthly downloadable games, exclusive discounts, cloud storage for saved games, online multiplayer access, and no changes for existing PlayStation Plus members at that tier. That's basically what you're getting right out the gate. The pricing for that is $10 US a month or $59.99 yearly, and there's also a quarterly $24.99 if you want to go that route. So obviously, the more you commit, the more money you're saving there. Next tier up is called PlayStation Plus Extra. And the extra benefits, all of the benefits from the Essential tier, plus, this is sounding like a Patreon fucking tier thing, by the way. All the benefits from Essential tier plus adds a catalog of up to 400 asterisks of the most enjoyable PS4 and PS5 games, including blockbuster hits from our PlayStation Studios catalog and third-party partners. Games in the extra tier are downloadable for play. So that gets you your PS4 fix, because that's, PS5 can play PS4 games as we know already, and so they're allowing you to basically just download that as a service and play at will. The tiers for this, $15 a month US, so we tacked $5 a month on, $39.99 quarterly, which is another $14 quarterly, or $99.99 a year, $100 a year for that tier. And the final tier, of which there is a special market-specific tier tacked onto this for reasons that we'll get to. It's called the PlayStation Plus Premium. The benefits for that provides all the benefits from the Essential and Extra tiers, plus adds up to 340 asterisks additional games, including PS3 games available via cloud streaming. This is one of the things that people were talking about a lot on Twitter specifically, the cloud streaming for PS3 instead of emulation. A catalog of beloved classic games available in both streaming and download options from the original PlayStation, PS2, and PSP generations. So some of them are downloadable and playable locally, and then others you have to stream them, similar to the PS3 offerings. It also offers cloud streaming access for the original PlayStation 2 or PlayStation, PS2, PSP, PS4 games offered in the extra and premium tiers in markets where PS Now is available or currently available. Customers can stream games including PS4 and PS5 using PS4 and PS5 consoles and the PC, which has 3 asterisks on it. I don't know where those asterisks go, but all the same. The last one, the tier for that, or the tier cost for that is $18 a month, $49.99 quarterly, $120 a year. The PlayStation Plus Deluxe in select markets, which is where cloud streaming is not available, will be offered at a lower price compared to Premium and includes a catalog of games from the PlayStation, PS2, PSP for download and play, along with time-limited game trials. Benefits from the essential and extra tiers are also included, and the local pricing will vary by market. So that's places where they just flat out don't have that service already and can't provide it yet. You get a little bit of a different service for a little bit less money, depending on where you are. So, for all intents and purposes, that's a lot of text to say, all right, we're combining the two services together, and we are adding the ability to stream PS3 games in some tiers, and a selection of PS1 and PS2 games as well is going to be there available for download and play. The one thing that stood out to me, other than the fact that PS3 games were streamed and they didn't spend the money on an emulator to be able to just emulate the games locally, was the fact that there's no day one first-party games going to be on the service. So on the Game Pass, for example, pretty much every first-party game on the Xbox is available, with only a handful of exceptions, really, on the Game Pass day one. Here, they're not doing that. And the president, Jim Ryan, talked about that specifically, saying that it just didn't align with their funding philosophies for these games, and that he was afraid that it would hurt the game's quality if they made them available day and date on the streaming side, which I guess means they just don't have the money to fund it, where they feel like not enough people would be converted to the service that would outpace the dollars made selling the game as a physical copy. And that's pretty much the show. What do you feel about this as somebody who was probably more interested in PlayStation 1, 2, and 3 games than PS5 games right now, or even PS4 games, having the ability to play some of those, PS3 from streaming and stuff? Does this seem like a pretty good service? Does this seem like it's value? Is this your premium? Is that worth the $18 a month? Or do we need to work a little bit more on what this looks like? How do you feel about this?
I'm not impressed by this at all.
All right, now if you were Sean Connery,
I'm waiting to be impressed, and I'm not impressed.
The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, very depressed about this release.
Yeah, this ain't it. This ain't it.
What would you like to see differently, or what would be worth the money, I guess?
Well, it seems like PlayStation has admitted defeat in this category, to the point where, you know, in a roundabout way, the guy in charge was like, we just can't do what Xbox is doing. It just doesn't make financial sense. And to be fair, Xbox had to do this because of their poor Xbox One life cycle, and how bad they were losing the console wars, like bad. Xbox is just ahead. They're just, I don't even know where to begin. Is what you said. Most games, day one, you can play on Game Pass. So, you know, if you're an avid gamer, yeah, there's going to be the odd game you're going to go out and buy, even though you still have Game Pass, of course. It's just like you have Netflix. You're still going to go and buy a movie from time to time, or go to the theater or whatever, right? This is, that's whatever. Sony's issue, or at least the issue that I have with this, is, for one, it is, okay, maybe this isn't such a bad deal if you are already part of the stuff that you're already paying for, which is included in this, right? So if you're already a person that is part of the PlayStation what is it, like Essential or the Plus or whatever
Yeah.
that they have now. They took two things they already have basically and molded it together. So if you're already paying for that, and then you just got to pay a couple more dollars to have access to a bunch of PS3, PS2, PS1 games, and time trials for video games, there might be some value here for those people. But obviously, PlayStation doesn't just want to make a little bit more money off their current people. They in my opinion, I could be wrong here, but I feel like they want to tap into this on-demand market and grow a massive subscription base over the next decade. And if this is your introductory, it's not a hot one, in my opinion, to have a bunch of new people jump on board, especially if you want to target some people that already have Game Pass. If you already have Game Pass, this and you've got a PlayStation as well, I'm not sure if this is anywhere near the value that you would want to be to make another monthly commitment or yearly commitment when you already are going to play a lot of the games that get released on the PlayStation to begin with. And unless you're a retro gamer or you want to play old catalog games, which, let's be real, you can emulate those on your own PC. You can emulate those on your console. I mean, you can mod virtually anything you want. It's not like it's a Nintendo thing where it's like you've got a limited chance to play this specific it's just you're streaming the game, right? Or you can download some of them, but you're streaming the game. So I'm not going to count Sony out by any means, because look what Disney's done. Disney Plus came out and they had virtually no new content. It was like old Disney shows and old Disney movies, and tons of people signed up. The only thing they had going for them at the time was like a Star Wars show. I think it was like Mandalorian first came out, or there was some show that they had that they were bootstrapping this whole thing on.
And they
then,
deep
of course,
discounted that first year too, right?
big discount, heavy discount. Like it was super cheap. I think I spent $49 for the first year, right?
Yeah.
After the first year, it like doubled in price. So, I don't know what Sony is planning to do. If this is their plan and they're not going to be putting new releases on here, they're going to lose in this segment. They're going to sell more consoles. It's Sony. But they're going to lose this. And in another 10 years, losing this battle could mean you're losing the console wars in another decade, because this is where the gaming is going. This is just it. Everything is subscription based, right? I remember like 5, 6, 7 years ago, we used to talk about subscription. Even Netflix subscriptions were like, damn, man, like $15 here, $10 here. It's like, oh my goodness. Now everything's subscription. Everything. You want a NordVPN? Get it a subscription. You want Netflix subscription, Disney Plus subscription, Amazon Prime subscription. And everybody's trying to find their own little niche within the subscription thing to get people to come in and say, okay, they're doing it different. This is their added value. I don't see that here. So yeah, I'm not impressed. If this was half the price, if this was $59.99 a year for the PlayStation Plus Premium, it's a totally different ball game. And maybe they should have done that for the first year to get everybody on board, and then start adding some value and then upping the price. And let's let it be known here, ladies and gentlemen, this is starting price. This isn't where is this going to go in 1 year, in 3 years? If this is what you're getting here, I mean, that's I'm not, this ain't it, man. The Game Pass, they're laughing right now. They're probably sweating for a minute. They're probably like, okay, well, what's Sony going to do? And now they can just enjoy this W that they have, that they're holding on to. That is Game Pass. So, and I'm a Sony fanboy. I've got a PS5. I haven't even played the Xbox One.
I don't own an Xbox. I own a PS5.
Yeah, me too. I'm a Sony fanboy. I mean, I used to be the guy who used to defend Sony all the time and didn't really care. I was like Sony over Xbox. But like, I'm older now. I know what value is. I know Xbox is just winning in that department. Do I still think the PlayStation's a better console? Yeah, I do. But it's not just a console, it's the games. And if you're going to rely on your old catalog, they don't even tell you the games that are available on this catalog. I mean, we could be getting like 85% dog shit games that you're never going to play. And some of your favorites I'm sure will be on there, but I mean, how far does that really go for people? I don't know. Like, is it say for example, you're a huge Final Fantasy fan, right? Like you're a diehard Final Fantasy fan. Most Final Fantasy fans already own these games. Like they have these games on the shelves. Like
they probably own them on 3 different platforms. Like Final Fantasy VII's on like how many
PSP,
platforms?
Fucking PlayStation 1, play it on the PlayStation 2, play it on the PC, play the remake, you know what I mean? So like a lot of these games that you're hoping that are going to bring people in, most hardcore gamers have these. And most of the new generation gamers, they don't give a fuck about the old stuff. They ain't gonna turn that shit on. I mean, like, what the fuck are these graphics? What is this gameplay? This ain't it. I just want to play Fortnite. And I want to do it so that we don't have to build forts. So, like, this isn't, you know, this is, I feel like they had nothing else. And they're like, well, just give them old catalog games, third party and first party, and we'll see what happens. And yeah, this is a monthly or a yearly commitment. So even if there are 20 games on this that you just want to play and you don't want to hook up an old console, you don't want to emulate or whatever, you're going to play those games and then what? Then what? What do you get? Where's
you got to have a reason to keep coming back, right?
Exactly. Like, you know, it's like getting Netflix for The Witcher, okay? You get Netflix, you watch The Witcher, or HBO Game of Thrones, probably a better example.
Yeah.
HBO Game of Thrones. Tons of people get HBO. After Game of Thrones, millions of people never turn on HBO again. And so if you're going to keep paying, which some do, I'm one of them. I still have HBO, and I never watch HBO. It's just there. Some people will keep paying, but a lot won't. And they're just going to cancel, and they're going to be done with this until you give them something worthwhile. I'm not seeing that long-term worthwhile.
Yeah, so things to keep in mind is that right now, if you're going on a month-to-month basis, is that the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate's $14.99 US.
Yeah.
You know, let me just remind myself. I don't want to fuck this up. So I think like if you pay on a yearly basis, you're saving on the PlayStation Plus premium side. But if you're paying on a monthly basis, PlayStation Plus premium is $17.99 US. It's actually $3 more a month than Game Pass Ultimate, which allows you to play on the PC and on the Xbox and carry your shit everywhere. And you get day one games and you get back catalog stuff that is more hand-picked that they could get licenses for, and so it's upscaled, and it's got, some of them have like auto HDR and fucking higher frame rates and all that. And then on the PlayStation side, it's like, you know, pay $18 a month and get fucked. It's kind of like, because if you're not going to do day one games and you're not going to have like something that keeps getting like more and more like regular new content, I don't know how you're supposed to keep that up. What it reads to me right now is that it reads to me as more like, you know, you said, you know, clearly they want to build out for like a 10-year plan or some shit of like, how are we going to get into this market, this subscription-based service kind of deal. Everyone's doing it to some degree. Our main competitor is doing it big because they've got the money, but we have to probably work our way in somehow. Mm-hmm. You know, I think that's the case, is that they clearly want to have a plan. But right now with this release, this doesn't scream long term to me. This screams to me, it's more like we want to upsell already like previously existing subscribers, people that are already in the system. Not people like, this is not like, I don't know how enticing this is to people that aren't already subscribing to at least one of these two tiers.
Correct.
So I think a lot of them have one of the two, and now they look at it like you said earlier, and you said, hey, I've already got this or that. Now I want to get my hands on live streaming or streaming PS3 games or the old stuff.
$7, okay.
And now I increase my monthly subscription, and that brings them in some more money. But this doesn't seem like a growth into the greater market strategy. This because I don't know who this would be for. Like you said, a lot of people on the PlayStation side, if you're talking about old games, especially if they're not being especially if it's not going to get like on Xbox, at least you're getting frame rate boosts a lot of the time, or like resolution scaling or something like. So you're at least seeing and playing the game in a different way. If I just wanted to play PS1, PS2, whatever games, I've got a retro tank, or I just plug my shit into my TV, and it's if you're gonna tell me it's not gonna be any different, or better yet, I'm playing it locally instead of live streaming it, which terrible input delay, and it just looks like dog shit unless you're blind. I don't know why. Yeah, I don't think that's the play. So it's a start. I don't think that this is their clearly their only plans. And obviously they also don't have nearly as much money available to them as Microsoft and Xbox do to be able to hemorrhage this shit and create a market on their own. So you can't expect them to go directly toe-to-toe, but I did expect them to at least have first-party day one releases.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting third-party day one like sometimes Xbox has, because now they're paying third-party people big bucks, right? But your first-party shit, you should probably be able to do that
on there. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, it's a start. We'll see what comes out of it. But right now, from everything I've seen, pretty much everyone is kind of just lukewarm on it, which I don't know how you could be anything more than lukewarm, because it's kind of just a lukewarm offering. But all the same, we'll just have to wait and see what more comes out in the future out of that service. Breath of the Wild 2 has been delayed, unsurprisingly, into a nebulous date of spring 2023, Mr. Black, which means congratulations to Elden Ring on winning Game of the Year. You did it. What's been a bit concerning, though, in a more serious note about Breath of the Wild 2, is that it's been in development for 5 years now. And it's been in development for 5 years, which I think is already as long or longer than Breath of the Wild 1 was in development. But they said that it would be shorter development times for 2, because clearly they're reusing all the assets from Breath of the Wild 1, or a lot of them. And all the systems are in place, and it speeds up the production of the following game if you're doing a sequel. It's one of the benefits of doing more than one game with the same engine and the same assets to certain degrees. You save a bunch of time. That's obviously not happening here. Now, COVID clearly put a wrench in things for a period of time, certainly. But I don't think that we can blame that 100% on COVID. We've also not really seen anything out of this game. I think we've seen the same footage cut in different ways now 2 or 3 times. And so it's a little bit unsettling to me that it's gotten moved and we're still not seeing a hell of a lot out of it. But I guess, it's also a bit weird that they're not even giving a date. They're just saying spring. They're not even certain enough that it's going to be a certain date. They're just saying spring, which means what they really mean when they say that is as one day before summer is the date that they're shooting for. And no more in the front half. That's the back half. So we'll wait and see if we get more in Summer Game Fest, if we actually see some more footage to put people at ease a bit. But otherwise, maybe a little bit turbulent in there for Breath of the Wild 2. Turbo Golf Racing. This is barely even news, but I had to throw it in here. Turbo Golf Racing, Mr. Black. It's basically Rocket League, but with golf instead of soccer. And it looks exactly how it sounds. Literally looks like Rocket League, but golf. And you know what? I'm probably going to fucking play that shit. I'm surprised, honestly, I'm kind of surprised it took this fucking long. Like that's a long time. Like somebody probably in the first 5 minutes of playing Rocket League went, you know what? We could probably do this with golf. And nobody fucking did that shit until now. So, props for managing to somehow still break that market. Turbo Golf Racing. We'll have to keep an eye out for that. And the last of the gaming news is that at least one of Activision's 410,000 lawsuits has been wrapped up this week, Mr. Black, as a secondary judge Not even, I think it wasn't the judge originally assigned, but a secondary judge decided to grant the $18 million settlement for the sexual harassment case, much to the dismay of the California State Department that originally filed for this lawsuit in the first place. I believe they were told to take it to the 19th or 9th district, something. It was basically like judge speak for go fuck yourself, go talk to somebody else. I'm granting them this shit, which sounds an awful lot like of the $18 million, they got paid some. To make that go away, because imagine getting bought for like $50 billion, and then the sexual harassment case that was brought in by one of the California state departments gets tossed away for 18 schmil. What a fucking cakewalk for Blizzard, for Activision Blizzard. What a meme. So there you go. Some good old fashioned GTA 5 lawsuit corruption happening IRL. Some out-of-character bullshit happening over at Activision Blizzard. And that's it for the gaming news, which means it's time to move on to some sellout. Mr. Black, hit me up.
We got NordVPN, NordVPN.com/OTT. Go ahead, grab your subscription, get a massive discount, which I do believe is 73% off, plus a bonus month for free when you get a 2-year subscription. Stay safe, stay anonymous when you're on the internet. Watch different regions of Netflix and other streaming services at the click of a button. Have up to 6 simultaneous devices, so you only need 1 account per household. Hook it up to your PC, your router, your phone, your Mac, your laptop, really anything. They got an app virtually for everything. Smart
if you
TV,
had one, Steam Deck,
throw it on everything. Just mask that IP. If you're feeling it, use that promo code. It's OTT. Link is in the description below. Go show them some love. Plus, with a 30-day money-back guarantee, if you don't like it for whatever reason, get your money back. No questions asked, guys. They also have other services as well that, they got like a password protectors and all kinds. Nord's got all of it. And you can get discounts on everything when you use the promo code OTT. So make sure, head on over there and grab a subscriptiano. And that's it.
It's time to move on to
movies and TV.
I'll do this one first because the other one is clearly the one that everyone in the fucking world has been waiting for us to talk about for this whole podcast. Bruce Willis sadly stepping away from acting. This just came out yesterday from his family. Stepping away from acting as he's been diagnosed with aphasia, which is a condition that dramatically affects the cognitive and speech centers of the brain. It's usually not a thing that stands on its own. It's usually a symptom of something else that's happened, something like bleeding of the brain for whatever reason. Whether that be, I think Em was explaining it to me in detail yesterday. I don't want to fuck it up, but it could have been a stroke. It could have been a small aneurysm. It could be Alzheimer's that's been undiagnosed up to this point that's kind of spurred it on. Either way, it really fucks your shit up. You have to relearn how to speak in many cases, and as an actor, you kind of need to be able to do that. And so he's been now noted to be stepping away from acting. So all the best to Mr. Willis and the family. That's a crushing thing to happen. He was still actively doing movies and whatnot, and I'm assuming enjoying himself in the process. And so that's a really rough way to have to end your career. Normally you want to bow out on your own terms and not be taken out the game by something like that. So yeah, all the best to Willis and the family. And yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker, and all that. Now, the thing that everyone wanted everyone else to talk about and has already been talked into the ground, but we're going to talk about it for a few minutes anyway. The slap heard around the world, Mr. Black. Or at least, as I have in my notes, any one of the 5 people watching the Oscars live. And then everyone else caught that shit on social media after it happened live on TV. I think I saw this pop up on my feed, or I was streaming or something when it happened, because I didn't even know the Oscars were fucking happening, because I don't give a fuck about the Oscars. And I think somebody might have mentioned it in chat. Anyway, then they linked me it, and I watched it, and it was so fucking surreal to watch it, because like everyone else that you hear in the room, at first I wasn't sure if it was a work. right? I didn't know if this was like a fucking meme that they had planned ahead of time because it seemed so like blatant. But then when you hear the back half of it and then the audience reaction, everything, I was like, oh wait, that shit ain't fake. That actually happened. So obviously you would have seen this, I'm sure. What was? I guess I'll give the context for the 5 people that don't know about it yet, and then I'll ask you what your thoughts are on it. So, Oscars are happening. Chris Rock is hosting, and which I think he hosted back in 2016 as well. But Chris Rock is hosting. He's doing his thing. He's doing he's the comedian at the Oscars, so he's kind of like roasting random people, whoever he can set his eyes on in the fucking audience. Some of it is probably ad-lib, some of it was probably rehearsed in pre. It's kind of how these things go. And he works around the room, and he's talking about just previous. He's talking about a husband and wife. I can't remember Javier or something like that. And Penelope Cruz, was that the couple?
Don't know.
Anyway, I might be just making words up. Anyway, I think I just made 2 people up entirely. Either way, there was a husband-wife combo, both nominated for an Oscar, and the joke was about the fact that the husband is hoping that he doesn't win if she loses, because then he's screwed. So he's hoping. The joke was to lead into Will was saying he's hoping, because he's in the same category as Will, please God, let Will Smith win, because the joke was, you can't possibly have, if you're gonna win, the wife can't lose. So goes over to Will. That's his transition. That's a segue over to Will. And then the joke about that he ends with after that, which was apparently I've heard or allegedly was ad-libbed, was his follow-up was to Jada, where he said, Jada, looking forward to G.I. Jane 2. Really looking forward to it. And that was it. And it was reference to her shaved head, clearly. Because G.I. Jane, rocking the shaved head. And also, of course, G.I. Jane is a terrible movie, so it's like a double entendre of like, a joke about how shitty G.I. Jane is, and then also the shaved head. So, and if you don't know this as well, Jada apparently suffers from alopecia, or has been for a while, which is an autoimmune disease that essentially balds you in various ways. Not necessarily the same as like a pattern baldness, like a male or female pattern baldness. It's a bit different than that. And depending on the severity, can even have you lose your eyebrow hair. Like you can have everything go. For her, it seems to focus mostly up around the back part of her head, to the point where she can't really wear her hair well. So she's been shaving her head. And that was the purpose behind that. So after that happens, well, I mean, the camera cuts to Will and Jada in the crowd. And then it cuts off back to Chris, and all of a sudden, you see Chris recognizes somebody's coming up onto the stage, and he goes, uh-oh, and he's laughing, and kind of awkwardly, and I have a sneaking suspicion that he could tell who it was walking up on stage, clearly. But if you've ever been on a stage, he could probably tell it was Will, but he probably couldn't tell really what was, because the lights in his eyes were probably fucking blaring. He can't see shit. He knows it's Will, but he doesn't know if Will is happy, sad, joking, whatever. Will walks up on him, full storm, and just like Muhammad Ali, open hand slap to the mouth on Chris Rock, who had his hands behind his back at the time, because that was the stance that he had leading up to that, and held it. And then Will walks off stage and goes back to sit down. And then after that, Chris's response was like, wow, dude. Like he was so, I can't even imagine processing that in Chris Rock's mind, because he's on stage live at the Oscars. Like, how the fuck, how do I respond to this? Says like, wow, dude. And Will's like, yeah. And he says it's a G.I. Jane joke. And Will responds with, keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. And he was like, okay, and whatever. And then Will's like, no, keep my wife's name out. And he gets louder, out your fucking mouth. And he says, okay, I will. Yes, I will. And then he cuts back to the camera and he has to try and like work his way out of it. And he almost pulls it off before accidentally handing out a documentary instead of an award for a documentary. He almost got there. And then the show awkwardly goes on. And when I say awkward, I mean, holy shit, you could have cut the tension in that room with a fucking, Well, you probably couldn't have cut it with a knife. You probably would have needed like a fucking lightsaber to get through the tension in that room. That shit was diamond hard in there at the time. So that's kind of how it all played out. And you can watch this all over the internet if you've miraculously not seen it already. But what were your thoughts, Mr. Black, on this incident? What went through your mind when you saw it? And I'm not about necessarily picking sides here because that's what everyone's kind of been about. But like, what were your thoughts on that situation when you saw that? How'd you feel about that?
I mean, I'm picking a side.
Go for it. Pick a side.
I'm on the side of Chris, 100%. Will
Okay,
Smith was
so
a fucking dummy. He was
all right, so explain it. Explain it.
All right. Well, I mean, there was some. Okay. Man, where do you start?
There's a lot to unpack here, isn't there?
Yeah. So there's some history. So Chris Rock, back in 2016 Oscars, made a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith, and it was along the lines of like it was the year that Jada was boycotting the Oscars
because Will wasn't nominated.
Exactly, and Chris said, Jada's boycotting the Oscars is like me boycotting Rihanna's panties. I was never invited. I was
never invited in the first place. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Something along those lines, right? And everybody was laughing and shit because, like, Jada's not the best actress.
She's not a fucking movie star.
She was pretty fucking dog shit, even in The Matrix.
Yeah.
It was awful.
Yeah.
So, anyway, there's some history there. He made this joke about her being bald. From what we're hearing, and I believe this, is Chris Rock didn't know that she suffers with alopecia. He just didn't know. In fact, Chris Rock made a documentary about black women's hair and the struggles of the culture of that. So, and it was like a very serious documentary that was educating people on the struggles and the importance of black females' hair and what that does to women. So to think that he would purposely, and he talks about, and I didn't watch the documentary, but from what I'm hearing, he talks about alopecia and stuff in the documentary. So the fact, I find it hard to believe that Chris Rock would purposely take a dig at her issue on such a lame joke. Really, I mean, it was
a weak fucking joke,
it was a
like
weak joke,
really
right?
bad.
It was like the worst joke he made of the night.
Which is what he said. Basically, he was like, "That's probably the nicest joke I can."
And he even said, like, "Come on, it was light. It was a G.I. Jane joke."
Yeah.
He was basically saying, like, "Dude, I went way harder on you guys back in 2016. Like, you're sitting front row of the Oscars. You're nominated. Jada's here with you. We're gonna say it like we're roasting everybody. This is the Oscars, right? Now, here's the other thing. I'll flip it around. If he knew that she had alopecia and this was something she was struggling with, which she has been public about, but not everybody fucking follows Jada Pinkett Smith. You know what I mean? Like, nobody, I shouldn't say nobody cares because there's millions of people that do, but like, we're not up her ass like we are Will Smith's. It's like, and to be fair, a lot of people don't even like Jada for a number of reasons. But anyway,
I'm not even convinced Will likes Jada.
Even if he did know, okay, and he made the joke, who cares? He's a comedian. If that was Dave Chappelle up on stage, Will Smith ain't never getting up and smacking Dave Chappelle. It's just not happening. Chris Rock is a small dude. Will Smith is way bigger than he is. Now, Chris Rock, and it was kind of like what you said, when he got up here, when he went up on the stage, he said, uh-oh, Richard, as in, because he played, he's King Richard.
King Richard, he played the Serena Williams sisters.
Yeah, so he played Serena Williams' father, and that's what he got, what he won the Oscar for.
The Williams sisters, yeah.
So he knew Will was coming up, but he also probably, because of the lighting and stuff, couldn't really see and feel what was going on. You could tell he was a little bit nervous. Like there was,
because who the fuck rushes the stage unplanned?
Who does this, right? He's a comedian. This isn't rehearsed. Like is he going to take the microphone? Is he going to do a bit? Like, what's going to happen? And he gets smacked. And then Chris Rock, you could see he clenches up, and then and Will Smith immediately turns around, he walks away, and then he just kind of goes back into his position, and he's like, okay, that happened.
Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
Yeah. And I got to hand it to him. There's a lot of things he could have done in that moment. He could have tackled Will. He could have grabbed the mic and made a fucking crazy joke. And I mean, Chris Rock
he actually says mid-thing, like, I could. He's like, I could.
I could.
And he checks himself.
He talks himself out of it.
Yeah.
And you got to hand it to him because, like, Chris Rock is a genius. He's one of the greats. He's up there.
Dude, his brain was going 1,000 miles an hour on that stage.
He's up there with Dave Chappelle, Martin Lawrence, the greats. And he could have tore the fuck out of Will Smith and Jada in that moment. Not only for what he just did, but also, the whole entanglement stuff, the fucking, all of just the drama. He opted to not do it. He was the bigger man. He was professional. You could tell he was pissed. He was confused. He was hurt. He was embarrassed. He was all these things. And not only that, Will Smith just sat there, then mouthed off. Nobody's security came up. Nobody kicked him out. They let him sit there. They presented him with an award. They allowed him to go on and make this long-ass speech. It's wild. It's actually insanity.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey put him on blast, along with many other people, and rightfully so. Will Smith acted like a child. Now, what I believed happened is Will Smith was laughing about the joke.
He was.
And then he looked over and saw Jada, who did not laugh at all. And when he realized, like, oh shit, I'm laughing, she is fucking super mad. And if I want to go home with this chick and not hear about this for an eternity or be the next fucking red table talk on fucking Facebook and deal with all this fucking shit, I need to do something. I need to stand up for my woman right now. And the only thing he did, the only thing in his mind was to go up there and smack the motherfucker. And this is not the first time Will Smith has smacked somebody. He smacked another reporter at another red carpet many years ago. It was a much lighter smack in the face.
In fairness, the guy was trying to kiss him on the mouth after a few attempts. So
of course, but still,
yeah.
He's gone up there.
He goes for the slap.
He didn't go up there and punch Chris Rock. He went up and fucking slapped him. Slapping somebody is the biggest form of disrespect that you can possibly do. I'm going to be honest, man. I'd be way more embarrassed as Chris Rock to get smacked upside the face than to get fucking punched out in front of everybody. It is the most demeaning way that you can hit another male. It's just like you're a bitch. You know what I mean? Like that's from my point of view. It's just damn right disrespectful. So Will Smith does that. He does his speech and all this other fucking shit. He gets on the mic and he apologizes to the Academy. He apologizes to everybody else. Says anything but nothing to Chris. Which goes to show that I believe that it's deeper. I think he was pissed off about what happened in the past. I also believe that Will Smith felt vindicated and felt okay with doing what he did.
Dude, he spent 5 minutes justifying his actions like he had a messiah complex. He literally said, God has put a calling on my life to bring peace and love. And then went on about trying to be a vessel for his people and like everything. I was just like, and out there crying and blabbering on and sweating because he's stressed out of his fucking mind. And just and spitting and sweating. And then you know what else I felt bad for? The Williams family, who's sitting up there now going, okay, this is going to, the only thing, so all right, so I'll give my opinion before I'm getting ahead of myself. So I agree with you. If I'm picking a side, I'm picking Chris. Would I have made that joke if I knew she had alopecia? No. I'm not going to say whether or not I think Chris Rock. I understand. Am I going to say whether or not I believe he knew ahead of time whether she had it? I don't know if it matters all that much, because in that context, if you go to the Oscars and everyone's getting roasted, you got to know that it's not malicious. It's just he's doing his fucking thing. And maybe that's easy for me to say, and maybe I'd feel differently, but you know what I would never have fucking done in a million years is get up on stage and slap the guy. He could have basically cut out the slap and just screamed at him what he did in the first fucking half, or the back half of that, and just said, keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth, and probably accomplished the exact same thing, but without the assault on stage. Yeah. Or he could have gone up on stage, whispered in his ear, said, bro, we can't be doing that shit, or taken the mic and talked about it. He still would have stormed the stage and did some crazy shit, but he could have done 1,000 fucking things that weren't slapping Chris Rock live on television. I don't, like, it was very weird to me.
Man, it's on the most prestigious stage
in
Hollywood.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, yeah, it's got bad ratings and stuff, but, you know, still, this is the Oscars. This is the pinnacle, okay?
Yes. Yeah.
You know, they're comedians go on there and roast motherfuckers bad. I mean, fucking what's his face? The white guy, the British is he fucking Ricky Gervais or whatever.
Ricky Gervais, like his thing last year, where he just tore the room apart.
He goes in. He literally calls these fucking people pedophiles and fucking he goes in and people just laugh. And Will Smith, this wasn't about the joke. There's something deeper going on. They've got a weird relationship.
He was laughing. She is not. He looks over. Oh, fuck. Goes up on stage, slaps him, turns around, smirks to himself as he's walking off stage. He knows, like you said, Chris Rock is about 50 pounds lighter than he is.
Yeah, you couldn't do. He was going to beat.
He wasn't going to hit back. He wasn't going to go back, even though Chris thought about it for a second. His fist goes up before he puts it away and shit. But it was unlikely, so he went up thinking it's unlikely for any number of reasons, whether it's because he's way bigger, whether it's because he doesn't think he's going to attack back and get into a fist fight on the stage at the Oscars and just take the slap. He knows that if he goes up there, he's Will fucking Smith. He knows the Academy's not going to suddenly drag him by force out of the fucking room.
They should have.
He knows if he goes back to his seat, he still felt emboldened enough to be screaming out at him after that. After he went up on stage, it was the most self-centered thing that he could have possibly done, because not only does it make him look bad, and it makes Jada look bad, and it makes the Academy look bad, but you know what I feel for is this is crazy. He's worked his whole life to get a fucking Oscar. He gets an Oscar that night, and he chooses that moment to slap Chris Rock live on stage. Not only that, but he also takes the thunder away from Denzel Washington, who gets his Oscar. He also takes it away from Sam Jackson, who gets his Oscar. And
from everybody, bro. The whole show.
No, I know, but like,
took away from Chris, took away from everybody.
Yeah, took away from everyone. But like, I'm thinking for like the black community, it's like they're seeing a black guy get up on stage and slap another black guy while he gets an Oscar and other guys do, and nobody's gonna talk about that shit because everyone's talking about the fact that Will got up on stage and fucking slap Chris Rock in the mouth.
Imagine if it was a white guy that went up there and smacked the black dude.
Or it would have been bad.
Vice versa, right? Or a black guy went up there and smacked the shit out of a white dude, right? The Oscars is already a white thing. In fact, there has been protests and boycotts and everything else. And there you go. You've got the most prominent black movie star of all time. A top 3 of all time. Him, Denzel Washington, and fucking like Danny Glover or some shit. You've got like 3 black big time Oscar or just black movie stars.
2 of them getting Oscars that night.
Will Smith is known to be a guy that is nice, that is pure. Yeah, he's had his times, but like nothing like this. And he goes up there and he does this shit. And he does it to Chris Rock, who also has a background of getting bullied badly. He's been very public.
Everybody hates Chris.
Yeah, he's been very public about the issues that he's had growing up, being bullied, all this stuff because of his size, the way he talks, all that stuff. And Will Smith goes up there and does the exact same thing over a fucking joke. Now, whether you like the joke or not, I really don't give a fuck. You have no business going on stage and smacking anybody. In fact, you don't even have any business yelling back at the comedian and heckling. like keep my wife's name in your mouth. If Will Smith was really that upset about it, which I don't think he was, Jada was, and then he felt like he had to
do something
her and do something for his wife because she was the butt of the joke, and there she is, and he understands the deep struggles that she's gone through with alopecia and all this other stuff that nobody else in the room does, and he felt like he had to go and do something, and he did. Even still, he should have never have even said anything. He could have taken the opportunity to get on stage when he won the Oscar
and said his piece.
Said his piece. Said like, hey, my beautiful wife over there, who yes is bald, and let me tell you about alopecia and how it affects all these people around the world. He could have went on his Instagram where he's got like 100 million followers the next day or the same night during the break and made a post about that. There is many ways that he could have done that without heckling a comedian. He's bitch made. He's a fuckboy for doing it. And I hope that the Oscars suspends him for years to come from there. Obviously, don't get rid of his Oscar. He earned that. He was the best actor. It was predetermined before he even did what he did. You just shouldn't take that away from him because there's tons of actors that have done some crazy dumb shit in their life, way worse than that still receive their Oscars. But that guy should have been kicked out of the building. He shouldn't be allowed there. He should be, if I was Chris Rock, just like Jim Carrey said, I'd have sued the motherfucker. I would have sued him so hard. I would have sued him for hundreds of millions of dollars, and I'd taken his money. But Chris Rock is the bigger man. He's already very wealthy. He doesn't need the money. What he's probably going to do, he's probably going to make a comedy special, and he's going to make tons of cash. He's on tour right now. He's probably still trying to figure it out. And he was the bigger guy. He walked away, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinion, the star of the show last night. He handled it as gracefully as any individual could ever handle, ever. Yeah. I'm not even sure how you can handle it any better. I don't even know if it's possible. So, shout out to Chris Rock.
Clearly Will Smith is fucked up. Clearly. Yeah. Now, if you didn't, I always urge people, whenever they've said, they defended what he's doing or they like whatever else, it's just like go to think that it was him defending Jada, which it wasn't. I can't. You have to understand that had nothing to do with the defending his wife. It should tell you right away the fact that he went up there and blabbered on about protect, and fucking made up a whole Oscar speech where they gave him 5 minutes to justify everything he ddid, and then took Denzel Washington's advice about the devil coming for you in your highest moment, misconstruing it entirely, misunderstanding what he was trying to tell you, in real time. It wasn't about protecting Jada.
He was trying to win people over in the moment. He was trying to justify.
He's trying to pull everyone in. He's trying to pull everyone in as much as he can to get as many people seemingly on his side. But look, go watch the Red Table fucking interview where it was him and his wife sitting down talking about their open relationship, or what was at that point considered to be an open relationship, and watch as Will Smith's soul leaves his body actively for the entirety of that podcast.
Yep.
You literally watch a man die in body.
He's still dead.
In real time. And he never recovered from that shit. The way that Jada went on and aired all their dirty laundry publicly, in such a public manner, and then took zero responsibility for it, coming up with words nobody has ever fucking used for I got raw dogged by a young guy called entanglement, saying that it was fine, and then after taking no responsibility, reminding Will every 5 seconds, yeah, but you had your fun, you had your fun, as if she did basically the excusable shit, but oh, don't forget, you're fucking around too. But Will ain't out there saying this shit. If you want to keep your open relationship, fine, work through it individually and or together out of the public eye. And nobody fucking need to know about that. Then August goes out and apparently makes a song about the shit.
Oh yeah.
So you're gonna tell me that Will Smith gets up on stage live on fucking national television to smack Chris Rock in the mouth for a G.I. Jane joke because his wife has got her shaved head right now and give a big fucking thing. And you're telling me that's about protecting Jada, but in the moment where she's getting barebacked by some fucking young buck and he didn't slap him? Bro, come on. This guy's got a lot going on in his fucking head, and he's had it for years. There was a very distinct shift from Will Smith, like fucking I don't know how many years ago now, but you could see it. And he's been trying to keep up this facade for years. And at the Oscars, we finally saw it crack. And it all came together in this one emotional moment for him, and he fucking let it get to him. And he snapped. And and Chris Rock took the fucking punishing end of it.
Chris Rock was wrong place, the wrong time. He had no idea that this shit was gonna happen, or he would have never have said it. And Will Smith snapped. And when he was screaming at him, keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth, he was telling that to the world. He wasn't just saying that to Chris Rock. He was telling everybody, I'm fucking tired of hearing this shit. Keep my wife's name out your mouth. But here's the problem. Your fucking wife's got a big ass mouth, and she talks and puts her business out in front of the whole world, and you're one of the biggest celebrities of all time. And you guys, whatever ideologies he had, because I read his book, he's got this crazy, he believes in marriage. He's going to do anything to keep his marriage going. It's one of his core values. Obviously they're miserable as fuck, but like he's doing whatever he can to hold on. He's losing his goddamn mind in the process. It's a weird family. It's a bad situation. Obviously, I'm sure Will Smith regrets doing all that shit because that shit was brutal. Do I still like Will Smith? I do. I think he's human. And it's obvious. He displayed it. Everybody has their problems, but god damn, man, that shit was crazy as hell. And we ain't heard the last of it. There's gonna be some more shit that's gonna come out. I know that the Academy, I think on like April 18th, they're investigating. Voting on what punishment Will's going to have. My guess is he's not going to be able to vote or be part of the Academy for quite some time. It even gets even deeper where the SAG, if they go in on him too, they could make it so that he can't even act in anything union. So he could be banned for a period of time from the union. Yeah. It could be anywhere from 1 year to 5 years, and he won't be able to do any unionized project or act at all. So we'll see how far this shit goes and how far down the rabbit hole
goes. So many crazy bitches on Twitter defending Will, saying he's out here standing up for his wife, and they're like, I can see how many people are saying that they'd let their wife get disrespected. What a bunch of bitches! Like you ain't.
Nah, bro.
This is you know what those women are. They're the ones that when you're dating and you're out at the bar or something, and some dude's like looking at her or some shit the wrong way, and like nothing's happening. She gets you in a fight. You don't give a fuck. Like you're just like ignore it. Just like fucking eat your food.
Jada
like he ain't over here. He ain't over that shit. Oh yeah, he ain't over here grabbing it. He ain't over here grabbing a titty. He over across the room just looking over at you because you're good looking. Just fucking take that shit. Why am I fighting your fight? Why are you making me fight people? Just let me be.
Jada threw it back on Will Smith that night. That shit, to her, she was getting off on all that stuff. You could tell she didn't give a fuck. It was all about her.
She's reliving the Tupac years, bro.
Bro, I'm telling you this. That family is on one. I mean, I wish them all the best, but goddamn, violence ain't never the thing. That ain't ever it. And just imagine how many people around the world in comics are going to be dealing with idiots that are going to come up on stage and try and smack somebody because Will Smith went up there and did it, so that they could be the next ones that go up there and do something stupid like that. The Academy should be ashamed of themselves. Will Smith should be ashamed of himself. Chris Rock did absolutely nothing wrong. I don't give a fuck if he knew she had alopecia or not. It's comedy. You are a public figure, and like he said in his speech, you got to learn to just go with the punches.
Actually, what he said was, at first he said, an hour or we, and then he said, you have to learn how to deal with it. He didn't actually include himself in it.
He's just projecting, bro. All he's doing is trying to get people to feel for him and what he was going through in that moment. The reality is he was completely wrong. 150%. Anybody that is on the side of Will Smith, listen, I understand you being on the side of him for protecting or standing up for his better half. Nothing wrong with that. It's how you do it. And that right there, that wasn't it. Especially in that platform, in that setting, on that stage, on that night, when you're representing black, you're representing Williams' family, you're representing the Smith family, you're representing way more than just yourself. and your wife. You cannot be doing that shit, period. And he did. And it was a big fuck up, and it's going to be the most infamous thing in Oscar history, maybe
and his
ever.
career, possibly.
And his career. And it's the one night he won a fucking Oscar, which he's been searching for decades.
Yep.
And this is it.
Yep.
That's what you did? Oh, bro, that ain't
and
it,
all
man.
for a crazy
I almost
bitch,
feel
bro.
sorry for him, man. I almost feel sorry for him.
The things men do for women, bro. Let's be real. That man was laughing until he looked to his left.
Yeah, bro. And he wasn't laughing. He said, "Oh shit."
Yeah, fuck. I got to
go.
Here I go.
I need to go from I was laughing at that joke. Now I need to do the extreme. Now I need to hit a motherfucker.
Yeah. People were like, have you never laughed at something and then just like got angry about it after because you didn't know how to like, stop trying to, bro. That man was back with his legs crossed laughing about that shit. That dude.
He saw Jada, and Jada was like,
Jada didn't take a second.
She looked at Will Smith, and she said everything she needed to say to him,
bro.
without fucking saying a goddamn word.
Daggers.
She looked at Will Smith while Will Smith was laughing, and Will looked over probably to see if she was laughing with him, and she went. And she basically said, "You're gonna let this motherfucker clown me?
Daggers.
Clown my hair in front of everybody tonight?"
Daggers.
And Will Smith went from to. That's literally what happened, man.
Fuck, bro.
Crazy as hell.
Yeah, crazy as hell. It's time for
tech support.
Patreon.com/LikeTV. If you got questions for us, $10 a month gets you that and some other stuff eventually. We got a couple more minutes here. Let's see what we can get through. Time Tricks, do you guys have a spreadsheet somewhere, or do you know of someone who has recorded all the answer questions on the podcast? No, fuck no. Definitely. Ain't nobody got time for that. Alexa, favorite trip you have ever went on? Some sick part of me enjoyed the trip to Anaheim where we got stuck in fucking Maine.
Well, I mean, going through wasn't the best, but
no,
I guess
at the time,
back,
but
it was an adventure, right?
And in hindsight, you gotta fucking laugh about it, right? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know anymore about about that. I'm sure you've enjoyed your Celine Dion man cry.
I would say a Vegas trip for sure. It's probably been one of my I had a really fun trip with Kayla to Dominican as well back in like 2014 when I took my mom, my sister. That was a lot of fun too. And my dad actually was there as well with his wife at a different resort, and we all kind of met up one day. That was a good time. I do need to use the bathroom though, so
yeah, go for it. I can answer this question.
Actually, you know what? I'll just hold it. I'll hold
it.
Yeah,
you only got 5 minutes.
Done. Yeah.
I've had my PC this comes from Dan. I've had my PC for 10 years. Over that time, I've upgraded the parts, putting in new RAM here, swapping out the graphics card there. As of today, none of the original parts remain. They've all been changed at one point or another over the last 10 years. Is this still the same PC? No.
No.
Everyone has a different definition of a new PC. For me, it's when you motherboard swap. New chipset, that's a new PC. Everything else is just upgrades. Seth, just spent a good half hour behind my desk at my new office with a bunch of Velcro ties. How important is cable management to you? Mr. Black, how important is cable
Cable and management aren't even in the same sentence.
No.
When it comes to me. I'm just going to keep it on it.
I'm somebody that would like to be better about it, but I'll do like an okay job, but I'm not one of the people that like start buying extension cords and stuff so that I can like route it specifically and fuck it. No. Arcades, this comes from Super Kami Guru. Arcades growing up were a blast. What was the hardest arcade game you remember? That's fucking Battletoads, without question.
Yeah, Battletoads or Battle Axe, like those types of games. Contra, very tough.
Fucking fuck the surfboard whatever level in Battletoads. That stupid one where like you're jumping over obstacles. Out of curiosity, this comes from Valkus. Out of curiosity, how much time do you spend thinking on or dealing with financial matters in the run of a day, week, or month?
A lot.
The answer is yes.
Too much, honestly.
Yeah, probably could try and condense.
I'm borderline obsessive, so it's. I would say like bare minimum 15, 20 hours a week. It's a lot.
It's a lot. Elio, I asked this question a year ago and I'm doing it again. Is there a chance you guys come together for the podcast again in the near future, like in the same room again? Yeah, probably in the future. More specifically, if it was going to happen, it will happen after I'm no longer living here with my parents and my grandmother. Neil Pring, what is your spirit animal? What is their personality, and which celebrity actor would give them a voice?
Spirit animal.
Spirit animal. Oh, I don't even fucking know. You know what? Just to make it easy, it's a donkey and it's being voiced by Eddie Murphy because that's what he already did. I'm taking that rope because look at me. It's definitely my spirit animal is definitely an ass.
I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with a hyena.
Okay. Who's voicing it?
Voiced by Chris Tucker.
A hyena and Chris Tucker's a good fucking combo. That's a hell of a fucking combo. All right, we got time for two very short ones. Coyote Conundrum, fuck, marry, kill, Donair, poutine, Belzburger. Oh man, I haven't had a Belzburger in a hot minute.
All right, so I am killing a poutine.
Yeah, okay.
I'm marrying a Donair.
Okay.
And I am
That's a tough one.
I'm
with you. I'm with you on the poutine.
I'm gonna marry the burger, and I'm gonna fuck the Donair because the Donair is one of those things where you don't want to eat it every day.
No.
But sometimes you want to go deep inside it, and leave the nuts hanging out. So
that's right.
We'll fuck on the odd time when I would never do that now with my stomach issues, but burger, I can marry a burger. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And a poutine. I like poutines, but I'm very specific on my poutine. It
really has to be
bad. Most are just bad. They're just not good. Either the gravy ain't right, the ain't proper cheese curds, the fries, they're not like thick, nice, crispy fries.
It's got to be super fucking fresh too. Like you have like a 5-minute window.
Yeah.
To eat a poutine before the cheese
it needs
solidifies.
To still be steaming. When I open that bitch up, I still need to see steam coming off that fucking shit.
It needs to be hot enough that I might regret putting the first fork in my mouth. Is essentially what it comes down to. Last one. J. Kim, hit me up with the sound of The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, randomly promoting his brand right after Will Smith hit Chris Rock.
If you want the number one energy, so you can smack the shit out of somebody, get yourself Zoa Energy.
No, he threw the eyebrow in. I know that's a video play. It doesn't work on the audio, but I'll say it. He threw the eyebrow up. He got it in there.
Do that.
There you go.
You gotta do that.
10 out of 10. Ladies and gentlemen, just 1 minute past Mr. Black's bedtime. It's time to end this podcast. Thank you for stopping by and watching or listening to the show. We appreciate it. We'll see you guys next week for some more Tech Alpha podcast. Until then, stay safe out there and keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
Peace.